You've probably heard it before. Carnivore sounds great, but who can afford to eat steak every day? That's one of the first things that people say when they hear that you're eating mostly meat. They imagine filet mignon, wagyu, ribeyes, and some Instagram influencer with buttered candles and Himalayan salt flakes. But that's not real life, and it's definitely not required to thrive on this lifestyle. You can eat incredibly nutrient dense, satisfying food without breaking the bank. In fact, when you learn to buy smart and cook strategically, you can often save tons of money compared to the standard American diet. Because here's the truth. Being healthy shouldn't be a luxury item. It's about shifting how you think about food and your budget. Now, before we jump in, if you haven't already watched my last video, Do You Need to Be Strict on Carnivore? It sets the stage for what we're talking about today. Because how strict you are affects how you shop, cook, and spend. Once you've seen that one, this one will make a bit more sense because we're about to make eating meat both affordable and sustainable. Let's start with this. Carnivore is not expensive. It's misunderstood. People see $10 to $20 steaks and think, I can't afford that. But they're already spending much more on drive-through food, snacks, and coffee drinks that deliver zero nutrition. Carnivore looks costly because it's real food. There's no bulk filler, no preservatives, and no packaging that makes you feel fuller for 15 minutes and hungry again an hour later. The truth? When you stop buying boxes, bags, and bottles of junk, the money evens out, and you'll probably spend even less. So let's talk about real strategies, how to eat carnivore affordably without sacrificing your health. The first rule is simple. Stop chasing perfection. You don't need grass-fed, grass-finished, panda-massaged steak from the foothills of the Himalayas. That's marketing. It's nice if you can afford it, but it's not necessary for good health. Conventional beef, eggs, pork, and chicken are still nutrient-dense, bioavailable foods, and better than the processed stuff that lines the grocery aisles. Now let's talk about some practical foods that stretch your dollar and your nutrition. Let's start with bacon. You might think bacon is pricey, and it has gone up, but it's actually a 2-for-1 deal. You get the bacon itself, loaded with healthy fats, protein, and tons of flavor, and you get bacon grease, which is like liquid gold in the carnivore kitchen. Save it in a glass or stainless steel container right on your stovetop. It keeps beautifully without refrigeration because it has no sugar. And you can use it to fry your eggs, sear your ground beef, or crisp up leftover meats. It's pure flavor and pure fat, two things that our bodies actually need, love, and thrive on. And yes, this is one of those simple old-fashioned habits that our grandmothers did long before anyone was talking about macros. Next up is ground beef. I say this in nearly every carnivore video because it's the backbone of this lifestyle, especially for women. 80-20 ground beef gives you that perfect balance of protein and fat. It's easy to digest, versatile, and affordable. Watch for sales and markdowns at your local grocery store. When you see a deal, stock up. Separate it into 1-pound portions and freeze it. And if you can find a local butcher or co-op like Miller's Farm, which I'll link below, you can often buy grass-fed beef in bulk for a fraction of what the grocery store charges. And for those of us who thrive on convenience, frozen ground beef tastes just as great once it's cooked. Then there are eggs, nature's multivitamin. Eggs contain every essential amino acid and fatty acid that you could need, along with choline, B vitamins, and fat-soluble nutrients that most people struggle to get enough of. And yes, cook them in your bacon grease or butter. They're inexpensive, filling, and incredibly nourishing. I tell my clients if you can't afford anything else, buy eggs. They give your body almost everything that it needs to keep hormones, brain, and energy steady. Now, if you can afford grass-fed, go for it. But if not, Walmart offers, well, at least in my area, two 18 packs for under $7. Let's not forget sardines. I know not everyone loves them at first, but sardines are one of the cheapest and most nutrient-dense foods that you can buy. They are all wild caught because they're too small to farm, meaning you get clean omega-3 rich protein with zero antibiotics or hormones. Now buy them with bones in because that's where the calcium and the collagen are hiding. Your joints will thank you, and they store for years, travel well, and are a lifesaver when you need a quick meal. And if you're not a fan of the flavor, try them with butter or melted cheese. It's a total game changer. Side note, make sure that you check the packaging to make sure they are not packed in some odd mystery oil. Now I know the word processed sends up red flags in this community, but let's talk about reality. Sometimes you just can't afford ribeye, and that's okay. If all you can swing this week is hot dogs, bologna, or even Spam, do it. Use the brands with the fewest ingredients. Look for meat, salt, and maybe a little water, and skip anything with bread or fillers. These foods still give you protein and fat, and they keep you away from the real enemy, processed carbs. You can always improve quality later. This lifestyle isn't about perfection, it's about progression. And if going with a less expensive meat helps you, then go for it. Now let's talk about liver. This is one that deserves a standing ovation. Liver, whether beef, chicken, pork, or lamb, is the ultimate multivitamin. It contains vitamin A, B12, folate, iron, copper, zinc, and CoQ10 in their most bioavailable forms. And it's one of the cheapest foods on the planet. If you can handle it, saute it in bacon grease with a little salt. If not, have it ground up and blend it into your ground beef. You won't even taste it. Or make a pate. If you bought that same liver mousse at a fancy French restaurant, they charge you $22 an ounce, and you can make it at home for 22 cents. It's one of the best budget hacks there is. Now that we've covered affordable food options, let's talk about how to shop strategically. First, buy in bulk whenever you can. A chest freezer is a game changer. Buying a quarter or a half cow from a local farmer can drop your per pound price dramatically, and you'll get a mix of cuts that lets you explore and experiment. Second, get friendly with your local grocery store. Meats go on sale all the time, and you can save a fortune by buying markdowns and then freezing them. Third, remember frozen meat is fine. It's often flash frozen right after butchering, which means it's fresher than what's been sitting on the display case for a week. And don't overlook the holidays. After Thanksgiving, grab those discounted turkeys. After Christmas, pick up hams. These store beautifully and can be turned into carnivore feasts for pennies on the dollar. It's not about eating fancy, it's about being resourceful. Or you can carve up those babies and freeze it for weeks of meals to come. Another great trick is batch cooking. Every Sunday I do what I call my cook once, eat often routine. I brown up a few pounds of ground beef, roast a pork shoulder, boil eggs, and sometimes make burger patties for freezing. Then during the week, meals are super easy, and I'm never tempted to grab overpriced takeout. If you have an air fryer, my favorite one is linked below, use it to crisp up leftover meats. It makes day-old food taste fresh again and saves you a ton of time, money, and effort. And even a fresh cooked burger or ribeye in the air fryer is cooked in under 10 minutes with absolutely no work on your part. I often buy 3 or 4 ribeyes in a package and cut them in half. That's only about $50 for 6 to 8 meals when you add eggs as a side. Or an amazing, less expensive option for half the price of ribeye, try chuck eye. You can barely tell that it's not ribeye, and it's been hiding in plain sight. Now let's have a little real talk. The cheapest food isn't cheap when it wrecks your health. Processed carbs, seed oils, and sugar-loaded foods might look inexpensive, but they come with hidden costs. inflammation, fatigue, joint pain, and eventually doctor visits. You'll pay one way or another. I tell my clients all the time, pay the farmer now or pay the doctor later. When you invest in real food, you're buying better health, better mood, better energy, and fewer medical bills. That's the kind of math that I like. And finally, let's talk about mindset. Carnivore doesn't have to look like anyone else's version. Don't compare yourself to the influencers grilling $40 ribeyes on YouTube. You're not building an audience, you're building your health. Focus on consistency, not perfection. For women over 50, consistency is everything. Our hormones, metabolism, and recovery all thrive when we give our bodies steady nourishment, not extremes. So whether it's ground beef, eggs, or a can of sardines, if it's working for you, keep doing it. You're not doing cheap carnivore, you're doing smart carnivore. When you're ready to expand your carnivore food options, be sure to check out my Carnivore Expanded video. It shares great next step foods that are amazing and still 100% animal-based carnivore. I'll offer 6 to 10 quick, small, fat-filled meals or snacks for under $20. Now, if there's one takeaway from today, it's this. Quality isn't about price. It's about intentional choices. Buy simple, cook in bulk, rotate your cuts, use your freezer, use your bacon grease like your grandmother did, and most importantly, give yourself permission to do this imperfectly but consistently. That's what sustainable health really looks like. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's your best budget-friendly carnivore tip? Do you have a go-to cut or a secret source for affordable meat? Drop it in the comments because you never know who might need that great idea today. And as always, if you want more science-based, real-world guidance, join my private Facebook group, The Art of Sustainable Weight Loss, or check out my coaching options in the links below. You'll also find my Amazon favorites, my favorite farm links, and my go-to kitchen tools, all resources that make living this lifestyle simple and sustainable. And until next time, be good to yourself, be good to others, and keep loving life over 50.